you get high. Get high. You can rock, but you get high. You can rock, but you get high. Get high.
College athletes are finally getting paid. But here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Some of these athletes are signing deals they don't fully understand, and it could cost them more than they ever make. And while today's players are chasing NIL money, former players are still in court fighting for money they never got at all. Welcome to the Fine Print with Avery Morgan, where we read what they hope you skip. In 2021, the NCAA flipped the entire system: name, image, and likeness. NIL became legal, and overnight, college sports went from unpaid labor to $1 billion marketplace. Brand deals, sponsorships, social media checks. Athletes finally had a way to profit off themselves. And for a lot of people, it felt like justice, like the system was finally correcting itself. But to be clear, this wasn't a clean fix. It was a fast rollout. No standardized rules, no real education, no real protection. Just opportunity and a whole lot of fine print. And the part nobody is talking about? There's no real federal law controlling NIL. No national rule book, no consistent standard. Every state is doing something different. Every school has its own policies, and collectives are operating in a gray area. So, what actually governs all of this? Tax law, contract law, and lawsuits. Let's start with NIL: what it is and what does it mean. What it is contracts, not collabs, not just brand partnerships, contracts, legal agreements that can bind you for years. And we're talking about teenagers signing agreements that were written by corporate lawyers, and that alone should make you pause. And if you really want to understand how early this starts, look at the McDonald's All American game. Those aren't just high school athletes, these are future brands, national TV, corporate sponsorships, millions of eyes watching. Before they even step on the college campus, they already have followers, attention, and market value. In many cases, they can't even monetize it yet. So the system is already building their value, tracking them, positioning them. The money is already moving around them. They're just not the ones controlling it yet. And by the time they get to college, they're not learning NIL. They're walking into deals that were already waiting for them. So when we ask about NIL risks, we're not just talking about college. We're talking about a pipeline, high school exposure, college contracts, and long term control. And if you don't understand the system at the beginning, you're already behind by the time you sign your first deal. Now, let's look at taxes, because this is where a lot of athletes get caught. NIL money is taxable. That means no automatic withholding, no safety net. That $50,000 deal, that's not your $50,000. And if you're not setting aside money, you're not making money. The only thing you're doing is building a tax bill. And what's not explained is we're not seeing it in the headlines yet. No headlines of athletes in IRS trouble, but that doesn't mean that it's not coming, because the experts are already warning that this is a financial time bomb. Athletes are getting free cars, housing, flights, perks, and all of that. It's taxable. So that free deal, not so free after all. And in some cases, athletes can even owe taxes on income they haven't even fully received, which means you can go viral, sign a deal, spend the money, and still owe the IRS. And when that bill comes due, it's not the school paying it, it's you. And then there's control, because the biggest myth in NIL is this: you control your brand. But once you sign that contract, that control becomes shared and sometimes taken. Let's break down what's actually in these deals. Exclusivity clauses: you sign with one company and now you're blocked from working with competitors, so that one deal could cost you better ones later. Image rights: some contracts allow companies to keep using your likeness after the deal ends, after you graduate, sometimes for years. You thought you were getting paid for access, but you may have signed away ownership. Performance requirements. You don't just get paid, you have to earn it. Posting, engagements, appearances. Miss the targets, you don't get paid. Now let's talk about the collectives because this is where things get real. A lot of NIL deals are tied to groups connected to schools, which means your money can depend on where you play, how much you play, and how well you perform. Transfer schools or fall off that depth chart, and that money can disappear overnight. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable because while current athletes are signing deals, former athletes are still in court. We're talking about major class action lawsuits, including House v. NCAA. But that didn't just start. This goes back years. There was a case O'Bannon v. NCAA, and this one, it was about video games. The NCAA and companies like EA Sports were using real players' likeness in college football and basketball games, same jersey, same number, same builds, same hairstyles. Everybody knew who these players were. The schools got paid. The NCAA got paid. The companies got paid. The athletes got nothing. That case cracked the system open. And now, years later, we're right back here again with athletes saying, not only should we be paid now, we should have been paid back then. So let's be clear, this isn't a new problem. The only thing that's changed is now the contracts are out in the open. And here's the contradiction: the system that refused to pay athletes before is now handing out NIL deals with no real guardrails. So it went from no pay at all to here's a contract, figure it out yourself. That's not reform. That's a shift in responsibility. A lot of athletes don't have agents. They don't have attorneys, and some don't even know they need one. Some deals don't pay up front. You earn money over time, which means if anything changes, you may never see that full amount. And then there's the long game. Some brands are locking athletes in early, low value deals before they become stars. So when that athlete blows up, their value skyrockets, but their contract doesn't. That's a trap. Let's zoom out because NIL isn't just about athletes making money, it's about who understands the system. Right now, we have billions of dollars moving with no consistent federal oversight, just contracts, loopholes, and whoever reads the fine print. Meanwhile, former players are still in court trying to prove they were exploited. And current players, they're entering a system where exploitation just looks different, less obvious, more contractual, but still real. The biggest risk is not about just losing the money, it's about losing leverage. A bad NIL deal could limit your future, lock you into the wrong partnerships, and reduce your long term earning power, all for the short term money. And the truth is, most of these athletes aren't being taught to think long term. They're being told, sign now, cash in now. But the fine print, that's where the real cost is. NIL isn't the problem. Lack of understanding it is. Because the real question isn't how much you're making, it's what you're giving up to get it. And while today's athletes are learning this in real time, former athletes are still in court trying to get paid for what was already taken. If this made you think, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss what's actually going on. Thank you for listening because the headlines tell you what happened, but over here we read the fine print so you don't learn it the hard way.